Peace. Oh man. All right. My apologies for the delay in getting online here. I'm gonna give a little time so people can get on if they want to build and stuff like that. I did have some things to build on. All right. As you can see here, I thought the school would be working, would be functional. It is not. So I'm only gonna be here for a little bit just to get everybody's questions, just to get everybody's builds. Um, The rooms are not in order, so if you were in the neighborhood to come to a law school and you were coming, that's peace. If not, then you can stay and we can build and stuff. Okay. To my liking, I don't find it satisfactory. All right, so let me know who's here. Let me know if you can hear me well. I'm actually in the back of a law school in Mecca. Saladin, it's been a long time though. Are you actually following and watching the classes and going back and studying God? It's important. This way you can develop your questions and whatnot and what have you and everything like that, so we can keep in correspondence. And if you're going to be a student, then you have to do things to acknowledge yourself as a student. That means you have to let me know what you're doing. And as grown men, though, I'm expecting you all to do that. Okay. I've got a lot of good emails from brothers in the classroom, and some of them I'm going to talk about, particularly 3 of them that are in my head. This part in as I'm looking for things that in the dim light here, I'm having a little bit of trouble finding all my things that I need. Okay. Put that there. Have that. All right. All right. Yeah, so because of the situation here, I really can only be on here. I'm only going to be on here about an hour. And if I describe the situation to you, you'd appreciate that I even took an hour. And because of brothers and their hard work, I'm not really in the mood to go down the list of things that haven't been done. All right, so. Peace.
You know why he did that? Because he's going to sit out here every day and let them come in here and use the bathroom.
Yeah,
And when I say something, they say, oh, we don't see it's not up there, but they got to
I gotta explain to you though how that's stupid, bro.
It's dumb. That's why I told him, I looked at him, why you keep standing there staring
Why
at the
would we
God
infect
for?
ourselves like that?
They let him do it.
You know what I mean?
They let
And
him
he's
do it.
acting like I'm not supposed to tell him something.
No, that's why I said, no, the God said you can't use it. You can't use it. Simple as that.
Yeah, this,
You know, he get his breath fucked up and you know what? He can't even come in here no more. Fuck that.
I'm with it.
He can't come in here no more.
They're not adding nothing, God.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they're not bringing the babies. They're not doing nothing. So I don't see why they need to be here.
Yeah, he's dead on this.
So
And remember now, this lights don't work in here.
I got you, God.
Okay.
Just making sure that social distancing and people that want to come in aren't just coming in. I was making jokes in previous classes about not trying to let people in that ain't just about shit, and that really wasn't a joke. You know what I mean? But today is one of those days that I really would love everybody's questions. If they have them, I'm going to go until 8:30. Because of the conditions where my equipment is set up, I cannot literally leave it here in good conscience long. It's not really stable, and I don't want to describe how it's unstable or anything like that. Brothers have done so much work. There's a lot of work to be done. Um, because there hasn't been that many people in these months, right, including myself, there's a lot of disrepair. Um, so hopefully we fix that up for next time. But so peace to everyone that's here. Let me try to get through some of the agenda here. And by the way, this is because if I don't get questions stuff, please, I try not to make my class sessions or any of my builds, and this is an important thing that I always learn, not to make my builds something that is my own personal rant and stuff. I've been, when you do this long enough, you can make your personal rants useful to people, but it's not really what you want to do. You know what I mean? Even though they might be very relevant and stuff. All right. Um, I think today's word, if we were thinking of a word, would be criteria. It is the name of the assignment that I've been giving out, though. But I got 3 separate emails, and only one of them directly dealt with the assignment, and yet all 3 of them in my mind registered as issues in criteria. So I want to quickly build on that in this hour that I'm going to give you online, so you have something useful online. You know what I mean? And because if I keep going, I'm going to rant about a lot of things. Um, Probably a lot of hypocrisies and stuff, which could be useful because I would bend it that way and fit it that way to be useful. But it's not really what I want to do. I want to build on what you need, but without divulging the details. Not because they're extremely personal per se, even though one of them might be personal. I would think. I'm not divulging the emails because they were emails to me. They're personal, um, and they have useful information that I think that need to be addressed intimately and personally as all the students. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, a real hip hop. I can rant. You know what I mean? Saladin, you asked me about Nick Cannon and stuff. The latest episode of my Power Right show I called it the loose cannon build because it was basically shooting off of the issues that Nick Cannon, came with. You know what I mean? But the thing about it is when we talk about criteria, so a couple of things, right? And I don't know if the brothers that sent me the emails are watching. If they're watching now, willingly, they most likely will watch later if they are indeed students. So we'll see. So I could say it now anyway. But let me open up these points here because I thought of these points as I read these emails and I didn't get to answer them, but I was able to write the points as I was on the train once I let them fester in my head for a while. All right, the first thing is this, right? And I just want to make, as far as news goes, before I get into these 3 emails. I'm at a law school in Mecca, though, but everything is a week-to-week basis because I'm not really happy with the structure here. You know what I mean? And I'm a little discontent with the access that I have to certain things that I should have access to. Okay. So as far as the disrepair of the infrastructure, that is bothering me less than the access that I have to certain things. Um, that I should have access to easily and should have always had access to. That's one thing, right? But so if you're curious, if you're not sure, and if you have my number, if you all have my email address, email me, contact me. You can do that on the day of. Obviously, I'm looking at all this stuff. If you're on my social media, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? You can't like the Instagram. If you contact me, then you'll see. So you head into the school and stuff. The things that I expected to be repaired and the reason why I didn't come last week were not repaired. That's okay when we don't have the drama of a virus and stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I don't. This isn't really a comfortable environment for students, and I find that unacceptable. You know what I mean? Um, so it'll be on a week to week basis. Right now, if it stays like this, I will be continuing online exclusively, and then be able to give you a longer class session. Um, and that's not even the core of my rant, real hip hop, right? So wait till I get wait. What if I even get to that? But because like I said though, I understand that the school people are doing their best. You know what I mean? Um, as far as my access, that is worthy of a rant though. I shouldn't have lack of access to certain things here. You know what I mean? And that's sloppiness that is years and years. For many reasons. Um, Also, too, this might lead to another rant, though, but I'll hold it in as best as I can due to knowledge to my 5%media.com page. I didn't. I'm in the works of making a Peace Corps book, and it is more about pedagogy and the way that I've taught all these years and the experiences, personal experience, and things like that. I don't know how I'll structure it. That's a book that I'm working on. I don't know when it would be released, but many of the columns that I'm writing for 5%media.com will be thrown in there. So if you want to see the nature of what I would be sharing and what type of book it would end up being, then read those columns. Also, a lot of times these columns are basically me thinking about what we did in the class session and trying to accentuate and trying to amplify the most important things that I was trying to say to you all in that class session, or focusing on something that is related that I thought was very, very important that I really wanted you to get. So if you really are saying you're a student and you are watching these long, 3 hours, then I would ask you to definitely read the columns as well. You know what I mean? They're designed to teach you aspects that you may have been missing, or just explore thoughts about pedagogy, the science of teaching. Because sometimes I just riff on the nature of what I was trying to do, and the style that I was trying to explore and utilize. Now, let me look. All right, so sometimes you gotta, yeah, I can see it in your, yeah, it's been that kind of week. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example of the type of week I've had, though. I've already had people that I expected not to keep their word, but they didn't keep their word, and that upset me. And then the very next day, I was training out. I do sprints. Um, I do sprint work after I weight lift and do heavy weightlifting and calisthenics. And I sprint outside, and then I do some martial arts outside. And then I go back home and continue with some Wing Chun dummy work, right? Um, so as I was training, um, it was yesterday morning. Um, this white guy had a mask on, and this white lady had a mask on, and they were walking up the hill. I when I finished the sprints, I just train and do kung fu at the top of the hill. You know, do my kung fu training at the top of the hill, just 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Then I do 10 minutes on a dummy. And there's a reason for that, though. You know, my Seagun, Bobby Whitaker, I had asked him when I started to train. I said, "How long should we train in martial arts to become good at this?" And you know what he said? He said, "Just train. Make sure you train 20 minutes." You know, and for those that know me, 20 is a very, always important word as far as like exercise and work and things like that. You know what I mean? Goes all the way back to my old earth, right? Remembered Imperfection. My old earth used to always make us read 20 pages a day. You know what I mean? And this was every day of something that didn't even have to do with school. We had to read 20 pages a day. You know what I mean? And these are the roots of a writer often. You know what I mean? Um, Sometimes the obsessive hard work of things in things that you need to know foster the talents that you have and even the joys. So I'm up there doing my training, and in the area I'm at, though, these people are walking past, but they're about 40 feet away. They're literally at least, I'm lowballing here. They're most likely at 50 plus. So it's literally like somebody that's way across the street, not on your block, but like way across the street, is yelling at me to put on my mask. And, when I'm sprinting, and then of course, when I'm training on the hill, no one's around me and I'm not wearing my mask and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I put it in my pocket and then I train. If you're on my Instagram, you could see that area where I train, because I had some pics where I was taking, throwing up some kicks and all kind of stuff. Right. And, there's people a little bit up though, and you could see even with my limited eyesight that they have no mask and stuff. Eventually later, people came down, more white folk came down that they didn't have their mask and stuff. So it was the hypocrisy of this person and clearly the racism. And I noticed that immediately though, so I let these people have it though. But and I find it odd that people feel racists feel so empowered that they would even challenge someone that was, training to fight, you know what I mean, and just be in the middle of that and try to challenge that. But I didn't beat nobody up. I invited them to my 6 feet range, but they didn't come. But that has been kind of the week that I've had though. People that feel that they're entitled to certain things and haven't really shown and proven anything, haven't shown and proven their word, have only shown and proven their racism, or have not really shown and proven that they've built anything, right? All in 1 week. So some of the stuff that I'm going to say, it has to have some of that in you. When you build, you try to build so it's useful. You don't want to get lost in the emotion of what you're thinking. You want to have it be useful to the people that you're talking to. But at the same time, though, you have to put your own passions and reality to it, because it is your reality that is also shaping a lot of the understanding that you have. You know what I mean? It isn't all empathizing through literature and through the stories of others that we get our understanding. You know what I mean? A lot of it has to be the life that you live, the things that you live. But with that said, these three emails, right? First off, I want to congratulate the God. You know what I mean? He's not here, so I don't want to like put his name out there that he took his first shot at the assignment about the criteria of what is allowed. So if the criteria is, let's say, if the criteria that we're talking about, right? When I said the list of criteria, I was like saying like, what are the criteria that make Allah God on all levels? Okay, all levels. So it wasn't for you to not, part of the exercise can be done as far as a primer, because this isn't an assignment that ever ends. You may hand it in satisfactorily to me because I'm happy that you started, but it never really ends. It's a lifetime thing. So this one brother left it to social culture. In other words, I feel that the criteria of the true and living God, I'm speaking for him, I'm paraphrasing, is the way that you show and prove that you are the true and living God through your ways and actions. So now he's making the criteria for the true and living God, then, as he described it, is to be the ideal individual of society, the leading individual. Okay? And that often works, though, because we're talking about God being a supreme being. And he ably went through the concepts of true and living God and defined all of those, even the ends and the thes, all of that, right? And it was a fair assignment for doing all that.